Good morning or afternoon to all students. As you may already know, my name is Mr. Watson, current band director here at Campbell Middle School. But these videos are to help all of our keyboard and our core students so they can get that beautiful A they think they so rightfully deserve. And until we get you a new teacher, we want to make sure that you're still learning as best as possible. Utilizing these videos to get the A's that will help us propel into when our teacher does actually get here. Okay? So please make sure that you're paying attention because this video is going to talk about all the things that we need to be doing when we enter the classroom. Also, it's going to go over the first few lessons in that packet to make sure that not only we are learning, but we're also getting down the correct answers as best as possible. Okay? So, as a reminder, you must have your packet that you received last Friday. Now, if you didn't receive the packet, you lost it, misplaced it, left it home, all those other things, please make sure you take this time now to get a packet. Don't yell. Don't be loud, unruly. Just raise your hand so you can get you a packet, okay? Now, again, this is the only video where it is okay that you did not have a packet at the beginning of the lesson, all right? But every other one after this is your responsibility to keep up with your packet. As we're doing the grades, if you do not have the first few lessons completed or you skip a lesson, you will not receive that beautiful A that we all think that we should get. Okay, so please make sure that you're not only getting this packet, but you're taking out all the correct answers so you'll have it when Mr. Watson grades your paper. Okay? So a few things as we're getting our packets, as we're taking them out, as we're getting our pencils and pens, make sure you're listening up because these are the instructions that you need to have every time you walk into the classroom. You're only going to have about 5 minutes for you not only to get in, have a seat, take your packets out, but then an additional 5 minutes to get the attendance done. That's 10 minutes in total. Once that 10 minutes is over, you only have the video will start whether you are ready or not. So please make sure that you are coming in, you take out all your items, you make sure you have it ready, you get your attendance completed because after those first 10 minutes, we will start the video. Now, once the video starts, then you can go ahead and raise your hand, ask for water, ask for bathroom, all those good things, but it's your responsibility to make up anything that you may have missed from that video. Also, I have a pass for anyone who needs to use a bathroom. However, that pass there's only one for that pass. So please make sure that you don't take your time, you hurry up, go use the bathroom, come back so that you don't miss anything that's in this video and give some of your other peers a chance to use the bathroom. Anyone who takes too long to go and use the bathroom, such as 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes or so forth, you're missing too much of our time, and that means you are not responsible enough to use the bathroom during this class period. Now that we have that out of the way, we're about to go ahead and start the lesson. Please make sure everyone is in their seats. Make sure everyone got their packets out. Make sure everybody has their pencils because, again, we're going to do lessons 1 through 4 in this video. Again, this is video 1. If you have already watched this video, and this is talking about for future references, bear with me. If you've already watched this video, please make sure you move on to the next video. If you have not watched this video, then this is where you need to be. Now that we've got all our things out and we're ready to go, let's go ahead and dive with the very first lesson. Lesson 1 talks about the staff. Now, the staff is one of the most easiest concepts to understand. Staff itself is 5 lines divided by 4 even spaces, okay? 5 lines divided by 4 even spaces. Now, with that being said, our staff is something that I consider the paper of music. Why? Because everything that we deal with revolves either on or around the staff, okay? So this is why Mr. Watson, and you'll see in the chorus room and in the keyboard room, that I have a staff here, a staff here, a staff here, staff here, a staff all up and down Mr. Watson's board, okay? And if you notice, taking this right here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 lines. And they are divided by 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 even spaces. Now, if you notice, Mr. Watson, when he put his numbers down, I put them directly in between this, directly on the line. So the line cuts my number if it's on the line, okay? Just because you put it on top of the line doesn't mean it's on the line. You gotta make sure that the number cuts directly in between that line. That's how you know it's a line number. And then if it's in between the lines, it's on the spaces. So I have it in this space here, space there, space there, space there. Okay? This is known as a staff. Another important thing to remember that Mr. Watson numbered his staff from bottom up. This is how we count our lines and our spaces. We count from bottom up. So that means the bottom line is line number 1. Same as the bottom space. So if we put it in order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. If we put it in order, you would notice that we have one on the line, 1 on the space. 2 on the line, 2 on the space. 3 on the line, 3 on the space. 4 on the line, 4 on the space. And 5 on that final line. Okay? So they actually go right in order. So please make sure you remember that we count from bottom up. And whenever you come in Mr. Watson's room, you'll notice that I will have my numbers posted on the very far ends of my board so that you could always remember how to count them from how to count our staff, okay? So now that we have that out of the way, please remember some basic questions. Some of the questions that you might see on your student assignment, yes? What is the number for the bottom line? What is the number for that top line? What is the number for that middle line? And what is the space numbers? Prime example, that top space is number what? These are important questions to make sure we have in mind, and some of the most easiest ones to accomplish. Mr. Watson is taking his time talking because I want to make sure that you get a chance to answer these questions right now. But as you're answering these questions, those who have finished, we're going to go ahead and move on, okay? So remember, you have all of these in that gray area at the top of each of your pages. Please make sure that if you're confused on any one of your questions, you look at it first and then try and find the answer in that gray section, okay? But for everyone else, let's move on. Turn your page over to the back side, and you will find lesson number 2. I don't want this, so I can erase that. Lesson number 2 dives into my next favorite part, the clef signs. Clef signs is part of our 3 components at the beginning of our music. It helps us read. And the clef signs helps us when it comes to not only what pitches and what instruments we need to be playing, but it also lets us know the lines and space names. So this is the purpose of our clef signs. So if we're looking at our clef signs, on there you'll notice that there are 2. However, there are 3 clef signs that we can be dealing with. And I want to make sure that we go over all 3, starting with our 2 that we're going to deal with in class. The reason why I want to make sure that you are all competent musicians. So I want to make sure that you get a chance to learn as much as possible so you can do as much as possible. So let's dive with the first one that you will see. The first one that you see is called the treble clef. Now, on our questionnaires or on our student assignments, you will notice that it asks you to draw this treble clef, okay? Well, let me make Mr. Watson make sure I put this down here. It is our treble clef. So if you notice, it's going to ask us to draw this. Now, my band students got a chance to draw this, and all of them are not perfect at it, but they're fantastic at drawing. Mr. Watson's going to make sure that you are the same, okay? What you want to start with first is drawing your monkey's tail. Yes, I said it, monkey tail. You want to go ahead and start on line number 2. How do I know this is line number 2? Lesson 1, we count from bottom up, remember? So we're going to start from line 2, 1, 2, right? Start from line 2, and you're going to make a swirl, okay? You want to make a swirl. You want to start from there, go up to the 3rd line, down to the 1st, and then continue to make your monkey's tail, okay? I'm going to do that 2 more times, okay? You want to go ahead, start from line 2, swirl up, swirl down, and monkey's tail, okay? I did say 2 more times. However, I'm going to say that last time for at the end, and you'll see why when I get back to it, okay? So, now that we have our monkey's tail, we find out that the monkey got a boo-boo. Yes, the monkey got diarrhea. Yeah. Key. It is what it is. Okay? So you want to start at the end of the tail of the monkey. We all know where that is. And the monkey wants to boo-boo straight down. Okay? Again, we want to create our monkey's tail. And the monkey got diarrhea, so he has to boo-boo. You want to shoot that boo-boo straight down. Finally, we don't want to step in the boo-boo, so you want to make sure you know where the boo-boo has landed. So you want to, at the very end, create the boo-boo so no one else steps in it, okay? That is how you create your treble clef, okay? Now, the important thing about the treble clef is its secondary name, okay? Just like Mr. Watson has a nickname, you may have a nickname, something that your parents may call you, or your friends. This treble clef has a nickname as well, or a secondary name, and it goes off of this second line. Whenever you see treble clef, this second line is called the G line. So this second line is G. And with knowing that, that's how treble clef gets its secondary name, also known as the G clef. And that G is on that second line, okay? So as I mentioned before, I'm going to draw treble clef one more time. And I'm going to show you why I waited to the end. It also has its name. If you create it almost like a G, start on the second line, you will notice that it almost looks like a G with a curve at the top, of course. So if you create that monkey's tail with the impression of a G, you'll be able to create that treble clef, okay? Start on the second line, curve it up, and shoot it on down, okay? That is our treble clef. But I don't want to waste too much time. I want to dive into the next few, okay? Where is my... The next one you see is called the bass clef, okay? Not the bass clef, okay? The bass clef. And the bass clef is pretty easy to draw. You start on line 4, okay? Start on line 4. You will create a nice little dot or circle and make a half a heart. Go ahead and go up and down and over. Create a half a heart. Now, we started on line 4. What you want to make sure on the other side of your heart is that you create 2 dots above and below that 4th line, okay? Notice I'm saying 4th line a lot, okay? I want to make sure that we're all aware of the important line that we need to make sure we have, okay? So we have our bass clef. But again, on our questionnaire, it's going to ask us to draw the bass clef about 3 more times. So you want to make sure you start on line 4, half of a heart, dot up, dot down. Let's do that one more time. Start on line 4, half of a heart, dot up, and dot down. Okay? But as I mentioned before, this has a secondary name. And it applies to this fourth line that Mr. Watson's been talking about forever. Whenever you see bass clef, that fourth line is the F line. So that fourth line is known as line F, which gives the bass clef its secondary name, also known as the F clef. So those are the clef signs that we wanted to talk about today. There is one more, and as we have the G clef and F clef, there's one more clef known as the C clef. But the C clef we'll dive into much more extensively in a later video. So please make sure you remember some of these important things, such as how to draw the treble and bass clef. The treble clef, second line is G. The bass clef, fourth line is F. And this will help us out when it comes to all of our questions. Yes? So now that we have that important thing out of the way, let's go ahead and look at lesson 3. Now, lesson 3 and 4 works hand in hand. So we need to be making sure we pay attention for 3, because 3 is just number 4 is just an expansion or continuation of lesson 3. Lesson 3 starts off with the treble clef, like we've been talking about before. However, it dives into the lines and space names, okay? And we're going to talk about an easy method to remember these lines and space names when it comes to the treble and bass clef. So first things first, we have our line names for treble clef. And if you look on that gray section, please look at lesson 3 for those who ain't pay attention. I got your back. So if we're looking at lesson 3, which talks about the lines and space names, you'll notice that treble clef, they're starting with your line name. Oh, they actually start with your space names. I'm going to start from the bottom there. We're going to start with your line names, okay? So E, G, B, D, F. Notice I named 5 of them because there are 5 lines in our staff. E, G, B, D, F. E, G, B, D, F, okay? So with that being said, that was a lot of letters, okay? That was a lot of letters. And I think that Mr. Watson actually skipped a step. I did. At the very top of your lesson, you will notice that it has 7 different letters. These letters are the letters that we use in music. The first 7 to be exact. That's A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. So in music, we use 7 different letters. The first 7 letters of the English alphabet to be exact, okay? A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, okay? So what I want to make sure we're remembering is that after we go all the way down, it starts all over. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, over and over again. And the same thing can be seen when you started here. Remember, we're going to have E, G, B, D, F, right? And for all of our line names. Now, with that being said, we have something that helps us remember all of these. An easier method to make sure that we have all of these down packed, right? This is called a mnemonic device. Now, this is not on your paper. I want to make sure you at least got a chance to see it. And notice, Mr. Watson does know how to spell. Mnemonic is actually spelled with a M. Just like the word knife starts with a K, but it sounds like it starts with an N. Same concept here. A mnemonic device is very, very similar to what you have in math class. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, which helps us when it comes to all of our parentheses, solving all of our equations and stuff of that nature. Same thing here in music. So our mnemonic device helps us remember things that may be difficult to remember otherwise. So with E, G, B, D, F, an easy method. I don't know how I want to say this. It's all right, I'm going to do it anyway. Every good boy does fine. Every good boy does fine. And that's that E, G, B, D, F that we were talking about. So, same thing can be seen when it comes to our space names. Our space names are F, A, C, E. And if you notice, just like before, we go 1, 1, 2, 2, line space, they go in order of our alphabets. E, first line is E, first space is F, next line is G, and then it starts over with the next space, A, B, C, D, E, F. And it will continue to go even above and below our staff, okay? So, the good thing about our space names in treble clef is that it spells the word face. So our mnemonic device is actually already spelled out for us. Just the word face. So we don't have to remember any long saying or quote to help us remember it because it's already written down. But bass clef is a different story. So let's go ahead and dive into bass clef so we can see what we're looking at, okay? So bass clef, remember we start on line 4, that's the important line. Make a half a heart, dot up and dot down. The line names for bass clef is G, B, D, F, A. Now some of you may be asking, why keep starting from the bottom going up? Remember, that's how we count. Our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and same thing, G, B, D, F, A. So let's see if we can figure out a mnemonic device for that one. We have G in the beginning, so let's do good boy does fine always. Good boy does fine always. G, B, D, F, A. That'll work. Good boy does fine always. Easy way to remember the bass clef line names. Let's go ahead and get that space names before we run too far at a time. So, as I mentioned before, if you go in order, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, then we should be able to find out the first space name. G is the first line. That means right after G would be our space. So we need to find the letter that's in between G and B. G and B. G. After G comes A. So that means my first space is A. That's easy. After B, which is the line, in between B and D is C. And we can use that all the way up. A, C, E, G. S, J, S, J, S, J. Well, I guess we can't do the same thing we did for treble clef. Let's try and find a mnemonic device that will help us remember A, C, E, G. Well, A, okay. I like all, not always, but all might do. I got it. All cows eat grass. All cows eat grass. A very true statement, by the way. All cows eat grass, actually. They don't only eat grass. They also eat a mixture of hay. That's part of it. It's grass, wheat, corn stock, all those other things that is broken down, and some of them might dry out. Yes, but that's what cows eat. So cows don't only eat grass, but it is a true statement that all cows do eat grass. Yes, so all cows eat grass. Okay. Now the reason why I wanted to make sure I go through this first and take the last few minutes, which we only have about 3 minutes ish for the rest of this video. Bear with me. You'll be all right. Is because depending on where you'll see your note, is what letter you will get. Let's talk about that for one quick second. Say I have treble clef, right? You will see a note like this on lesson 4. See that my first line is cutting through it? Same like our numbers in the very beginning. That means this is on the first line. What is the first line of treble clef? It's E. So that means this one is letter E. However, just because I put one here doesn't mean it's the next letter in the alphabet. We have to find out where is it on the staff. This is on my second line. So that means my second line in treble clef actually is G. Let's throw a curveball in there. Mr. Watson's going to try to trick you. I'm going to place mine up here. What line is it on? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm on my 5th line. What is our 5th line in treble clef? It's F. So I should put F right here. Same thing for any of my spaces. If I put mine on this space right here, space number 1, space number 2, space number 3, and space number 4. This is the 4th space. 4th space collides with this letter. It is letter E. So we should be doing this for each and every one, bass clef included. So if I have mine on this middle line in bass clef, I need to go down the bass clef and see that it lines on line number 3, which is D. So you need to know whether it is treble clef or bass clef, and then you can use your lines and space names and your mnemonic devices. This is going to be important for lessons 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then lesson 5 and 6 we'll dive into tomorrow. I hope everyone enjoyed this lesson as best as possible. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or you need to re-watch this, you always have the ability to watch this on the band's YouTube page. YouTube. On the band's YouTube page, look up Campbell Middle School Band, and you will pop up, and lessons 1 through whatever is going to be there. I thank y'all for paying attention as best as you possibly can. Mr. Watson will be grading this not tomorrow, but the very next day. So please make sure that we go through this as best as possible. And for rule of thumb, I will always be grading your work after the student assignment. So I think the next student assignment, the first student assignment, is on lesson 6. The bell is about to ring, so please make sure you have all of your items. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to talk to your, the substitute or talk to Mr. Watson if we are here in the room at one time. Thank you guys, and if there's no other questions, comments, concerns, I will holler at y'all momentarily.